Right, here we go. Live stream. I'll just get a few little bits and bobs ready. And we can have a look at this together. Right. Okay, so yeah, Bitcoin's certainly moving. Let's have a little peep as to what's going on. These are big moves, but moves I didn't anticipate. Definitely did think that this was likely to happen today. I made a video earlier on this morning, actually, stating that these were my estimated targets. I'm never one of those people that likes to say, yeah, this is something I anticipated, and this is something I sort of mapped out. But what I do expect to happen here is basically what's happening. I mean, obviously, you can go back and have a look at my video if you want, or you can just take my word for it. But yeah, I did expect us to come up to here and have a rejection from it. This is where I think the rejection is going to start, but I do think it'll break. But we are having strong rejections from it now. Yeah, right. So we're bouncing now. We're bouncing onto this 7-day close. Is actually becoming our support. Actually, quite a strong looking support from what I can see here. We're having heavy rejections and a relatively safe support level at well, and exactly on the 7-day close, to be honest. The RSI is so high; it's extremely high. It can stay high, obviously, but it is very high. Let's have a little look. I mean, it's coming down now from Boy, it really did peak right up at the top here. This MACD level is looking extremely erect. Wants to push higher. The volume is actually decreasing slightly now, though, I should say. So we'll see how this one goes, but this might be the highest we'll see it tonight. I'll be actually quite surprised if it tries to go much higher than 12,500. Yeah, anything is possible, clearly. It is quite a big move in such a small space of time. Let's have a look at what it's doing to the rest of these alts. Oof. Tragic. Absolutely tragic. Very few alts are surviving this. I mean, hardly anything. Not looking too bad on the tether setup, but yeah, it's the obvious ones that are benefiting from this one. And the majority are going to be suffering quite a lot from this. Let's have a look how bad it's been for some of these guys. Yeah, really bad. Always the biggest movers are the biggest ballers. So yeah, it's not looking great for those guys. Anyway, yeah, we're bouncing now on this 7-day close. Probably going to bounce back to the top of the Bollinger Band here. Unlikely, very unlikely to bounce much further than 12,500. I'd be very surprised if we got that far. I think this is probably our limit for now. I mean, anything can happen, but it's not looking great, to be honest. Well, I mean, as far as a Bitcoin chart is concerned, it's looking very good. But I did say earlier on in my video that that this is what was likely to happen next, and we were dancing around this level, which was a clear resistance for it around the 11,200. And then we just completely smashed out of that just now, and we're up to our next support, which is 12,200. Next resistance that would be, and it's really suffering here. 7 days on the 5 minute is just bent, so I would expect to see probably a bit more of a downtrend here. The next level is actually down here at 12,000 before we see a significant bump on the 5 minute. Let's go to the hourly, see where it stands on the hourly. I mean, hourly looks pretty amazing, clearly, because this has been such a big move in such a small space of time. But that was a steep rejection, and it's very difficult to say, to be honest with you. The RSI is right at the very top. Probably want it to come down a bit, but the MACD is still got some life left in it before we start to come down again. Let's have a look at some larger time frames. Yeah, we've still got some room to move here, definitely. I mean, we've broken out of this Bollinger Band, but that doesn't really mean a great deal for Bitcoin anymore. Bitcoin doesn't really care for Bollinger Bands. We're above all moving averages. The volume is, it's not unusually high, to be honest with you. It's not unusually high, but indicators are telling me that it roughly do have a bit more to go. I would say let's have a little let's pencil something in here. This area here is going to be a major support for us, a resistance, I should say. That is going to be our major resistance around about here. If we are brave enough as a Bitcoin chart to break above there, then we probably would look to revisit these highs this week, and maybe top them actually. Perhaps, I mean, we're only Monday today, but to try and top those highs this week, it's not out. It's actually, it would be quite feasible for that to take place if we were to break above here and this turn to support throughout the night. We've got plenty of room to move actually. Let's have a look on the daily. Oh yeah, I would say we're looking for a much bigger move than what we've already just had. I think, to be honest with you, this area will be taken out actually. If not in the next few hours, perhaps maybe tomorrow or in the next couple of days. We're getting ready for a big move, and that big move would certainly take us up to 13,000. But we need to break above this little. I say little. It's 12,500. If we break above that, then things are going to look pretty good for us. The volume's not enormous, though. I should say it's not. I mean, it's big. Don't get me wrong. It is big, but it's not absolutely enormous. There might be a few people jumping on the bandwagon at this point now that they see this move, and quite rightly so. Is the rule of thumb is if we can stay above 11,800, we can break above there, then it generally would turn bullish, and it's looking quite bullish right now. So I'm not one for jumping on green candles. I mean, I've got some of my most of my Bitcoin is, in fact, all of my Bitcoin is in the Ledger wallet. So I'm just hodling this really. So I just like to check the charts obviously and make see how it's all going. I only really trade alts at the moment. I hodl my Bitcoin. I mean, but yeah, it's looking pretty good. Let's have a quick look at the state of the alt situation, which is absolutely tragic across the board. Absolutely tragic. Cardano, eh? All right then. Let's have a look about ADA. To be honest with you, let's have a look at the Bitcoin pairing. To be honest with you, I used to like trading this. I don't really anymore. You can see I've had silly little curses in it from way back when. But yeah, I did like to try to actually trade this before, and then I just stopped really when it fell so hard. I just thought, oh, I'll leave this one completely alone. And the last time I traded it was when it hit when it reached, well, it was about here actually when I traded it last, and because I bought it just under 1,000 satoshis actually. I didn't sell it anywhere near the top. I kind of sold it around. I couldn't tell you exactly where I sold it, but I did. And it looks like just as well. I mean, there's so many alts that are really suffering right now, and this one is. I don't know. It's such a interesting one to look at, to be honest with you, because it's Satoshi pairing, and along with all alts, really is being destroyed. So we look at it now, 655 Satoshis. And before, I thought that I was getting in at what I would consider to be a bottom back here, but not at all. No, there's no bottom here. I mean, we're making new lows on the Satoshi value, clearly. Is this brand new? I mean, actually, when we look at it here, I mean, where was it? Where was this low here? All the way back here, before the huge parabolic run. Oh, so you're just holding for the long term. Well, you know, I wouldn't think you've got much to worry about, to be honest with you. This is a coin I'm pretty sure will do very well in the long term. And to be honest with you, looking at things with Satoshi value at the moment, when you've got such strong Bitcoin dominance, it's not pointless, but it's very difficult. Let's make a bit more sense of it. Let's have a look at the tether bearing, shall we? I mean, it's definitely got a bit further to fall. If I was to buy this, I wouldn't be looking at buying it yet because I mean, look, the indicators aren't looking great, but it is about to turn a corner. What are we on the daily here? So it is likely to turn a corner soon. But Bitcoin is just draining the life out of everything. So with that amount of Bitcoin dominance in the market, no alt unless it does something amazing, you know. And I don't mean with trading. No one's really wanting to trade with alts at the moment. I mean, like, let's look at. I mean, just look at the state of them. Just look at the state of them across the board. I mean, why would anyone want to trade these right now? Well, I do trade them, to be honest with you. So, but generally speaking, why would you? When Bitcoin's the one that's making consistent moves, constantly making moves, and when's that likely to change? It's very difficult to say. All the money's been taken out of alts and put into Bitcoin, and I think that's the way it's going, really. Even if Bitcoin were to do huge corrections, let's say Bitcoin was to crash completely, let's say go back down to 6,000 or lower, everyone's just going to be buying it back. I think what we really need to look at now is rather than look at these coins as something to trade, it's you've really got to dig a bit deeper and look at it, at what they're capable of. You've got to look at their market caps. You've got to look at how many is in circulation. You've got to look at what the actual blockchain's actually trying to achieve, and whether it's feasible to have some form of mass adoption, really, because that is the only thing that's really going to start to give these things value. I think the meaning of the word shitcoin hasn't really taken off like it will do these next few years, because I mean, the way it's going now, some of these coins are going to be just completely like thrown into on the wayside. I mean, it might not look like it did on the last run. There's no real reason why all altcoins should gain in value. Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, proof of stake projects is that's definitely the way it's going to. That is how these coins really should start to go. One of the coins, not that it's doing well at all at the moment, but I think some of these coins are going to do well long term because of proof of stake. Yeah, ADA is going to be one of those coins. ADA has the potential to be extremely fast and extremely, well, I say valuable. It'll definitely, I would expect it to. Where are we now? I mean, we're 8 cents. I mean, for it to do a 10x at the end of this couple of years bull run, that's easy. I think that's pretty easy. I think if you were to invest into anything, you know, if you had the choice of investing into a Bitcoin or something like ADA, or Matic, actually, they're both doing proof of stake, and proof of stake is like an incentive for people to hold on to their coins and things. So that will incentivize people to buy more, hold more, you know, and trade less. You do that on a large enough scale, I mean, that will increase the price and hold a price at a certain level and keep it going up. So I think for the value of a coin, that's definitely one of the ways it should be going in. So yeah, it's so difficult to put a price tag on anything, but I could see ADA at the end of this big bull run that we're likely to go through. I could imagine it being $1.50, maybe $2, or maybe even more. I mean, they're quite early on into what they're looking to achieve. It's only when they start to make those huge leaps will you see huge price differences. And this is what I mean. At the moment, when it comes to trading, which is what is really giving on any alt their pump and dumps, it's trading volumes. You know, you can't really trade these coins properly at the moment because everyone's trading Bitcoin. It's only when people start to see coins with long-term potential, and those coins have begun to prove that you would actually see some kind of difference. Well, you're going to look at something like ADA as an example, definitely. Matic's a good example of that. Ethereum is clearly a good example of that. One thing I've been thinking about actually recently is Litecoin, because Litecoin's due to have its halving event actually relatively soon. In fact, it's about 4 or 5 weeks away, and I kind of expected to see a bit more movement from Litecoin in anticipation for that. Now I know that it was one of the biggest movers at the beginning of April. I mean, where are we? I mean, it's definitely moved way harder and faster than Bitcoin has. But I would expect people to start buying it up now. Really, that halving event. Last time there was a halving event, it caused the price to go up to 400% of its value after the halving event. So I don't see why people aren't getting involved in that right now. I wouldn't expect to go 400% from now. I mean, a 4x from where it is now, it brings it up to just short of $700. I mean, for that to happen, if you can imagine that happening in the next couple of months, next 2 or 3 months after the halving event has taken place, I mean, that's a ridiculous move. But it did do 400% last time there was a halving, so it's not unreasonable to imagine it doubling in its value, but nothing's moving with it now. I can only imagine that a lot of this movement has the halving event priced in. Metamorph, is that on Binance for me to have a look at? Because I'm only on the Binance page here. If it's not on there, I'm not really going to be able to look at it really. There's a lot of coins that are going to do really well. Altcoins and things. I mean, look at Chainlink, for instance. I mean, but there's a reason for that. That's not just people, throwing their money onto it on the exchange and trading it and things. That coin, that company is making big moves. That's not on Binance. It's a shame, really. There's a lot of good coins that are not on Binance. I'll tell you one thing that I did throw a few quid in of something that's not on Binance. Yeah, I only put like $200 into it. A couple of weeks ago actually, and it's not really done anything. And I actually expect to lose money on it. Really, it's a gamble, and I'm not really a gambling man, but I felt like it's only $200. It's not a great deal really. It was Kin, and you probably think I'm an idiot for actually putting money into buying some Kin, but I thought, what the hell? It's actually been completely destroyed as a result of that whole court case business, which hasn't even played out yet. I do expect to see more destruction of that coin, really. But I thought how many did I buy? I ended up with something ridiculous like 13 million Kin coins. And I thought, well, it's 200 quid. It's just a little bit of profit that I've made on something else. So, it's not like I'll miss it. And we'll see how that one plays out. But it's actually had a big boost today, actually, despite all this madness with Bitcoin. It has actually had a big boost. But that's because it fell so hard. It's up about 20% right now. Yeah, there's quite a few things that are not on Binance that kind of could be. I noticed that they put Kin on the Binance wallet, which is an interesting development. I don't know how much I should read into that, but it's gone on it went on the what am I doing on the wrong one here? It went on the Binance wallet, which the Twitter feed would tell you that Kin now on Binance wallet. Is this the next level? Is it gonna appear on here soon? What's gonna happen next? And to be honest with you, if this whole court business blows over, if they don't even take it to court, if it just sort of sorts itself out, there's no reason why it wouldn't increase in value. I mean, it's what 0.00002 2 at the moment. So you can get a hell of a lot of them for a very, very small amount of money. Yeah, well, there's a lot of people getting wrecked, to be honest, at the moment. And in a way, I'm a little bit wrecked as well, actually, on a couple of things. I mean, not completely because I bought lower than they are at the moment, but I actually did buy more when they were higher. So there's 2 coins that I'm actually holding, 2 altcoins I'm holding at the moment. One is BitTorrent token, and the other is well, actually there's 3 because I bought some Litecoin as well, actually. But yeah, BitTorrent token, I expected to see a bit more of a move. We've got the BitTorrent speed coming out, but then I do have a theory that that might actually do the reverse of actually giving it an increase in value. And Matic as well. I bought Matic when it was just over a cent, so I bought a load then. And then when it plummeted back down, I thought I'll pick some up at 2 cents because 2 cents seemed like a relatively strong resistance. But so I bought some there. But yeah, I'm kind of losing out on that one at the moment. So it's balancing itself out. My profits they're still up, but it's a bit touch and go at the moment. But I'm not selling them. I'm just holding them. A BitTorrent token, yeah. I mean, that looks like a strong chart. We'll go onto that chart now and just have a look because I did expect to see some decent moves with that, but certainly not now. It did some decent moves yesterday. I was clicking on the wrong one. Did some decent moves yesterday. All right, wow. That's unfortunate. You bought it. You know what? That's the way it goes. I got into the crypto market not well. It's weird. I mean, a brief story of how I got into it. I used to trade CFD trading just part time. So I do have a job. I do work and stuff. But I was doing CFD trading and I had used Bitcoin in the past, I just used it, sort of darknet stuff, nothing, just bits here, bits there, and I hadn't really put 2 and 2 together, even though it had been going up in value quite a lot. I didn't put 2 and 2 together and think that. And then this was actually way back in like 2015, so there were moves being made, but it just didn't twig. And then because I was trading on CFD trades and stuff, I was mainly doing commodities. And then I noticed that Bitcoin appeared on there. So I was like, all right, so now you can actually trade it, with leverage and stuff. Now, I'm just, just a small time trader and stuff. So I was like, okay, well, what I'll do is I've started trading it rather than actually buying it and accumulating it. I was being silly. I was just trading it, with a bit of leverage here and making a bit of money. And then when it really started to take off, I thought I'll actually buy it now and just hold it. It makes more sense. And then I was extremely lucky, and I decided to invest pretty much all of my money at that point in Ripple when Ripple was about 3 cents. And I was like you in a way. I watched it go all the way up, and it went all the way up, and then it started to go all the way down again. And I could have made a hell of a lot more than I did, but because I bought it such small price, it was just short of 3 cents when I bought it. I still did make all right, but I didn't sell it, so I could have made 3 times more than I did. But yeah, I mean, like I say, it's we're at the beginning of what could be considered a bull market at the moment. So that $1 that you paid for your ADA, I couldn't give you an estimated time frame as when that's likely to happen again, but I wouldn't expect to see $1 value for ADA for at least a year or 18 months or so. And the way things are going at the moment, maybe even 2 years or so. One thing I used to do, one thing I've been doing now actually, is just reminding myself what things were like in the infancy of the last bull run for altcoins, specifically for XRP. And if you actually have a look, when I bought my XRP, I put a couple of grand on it, and when it was about 3 cents, thinking that I'll cash this out when it doubles in value. But when I bought it at 3 cent, it didn't double at all. It halved, and I felt like an absolute idiot because within about a month, my money had gone down by half and even more at some points, and I was like, oh, what have I done? How ridiculous of an idea it was that. Why didn't I just leave it in the Bitcoin or continue trading with gold and silver and things like that? But I waited it out, and it paid off in the end. But it took a long time. It took a long time. If you were to have bought XRP, let's just say some point in 2016 or before, when it was really small, you look at the way it traded. It was going from as little as fractions of a cent, 0.3 cents. Sometimes it would go up to 2 cents, then it'd go back down to 1 cent, then it'd go to 3 cents, then it'd go to 1 cent. It was like this. It was moving around like that for pretty much years, actually. And it was only in the final year of that bull run that it actually made those huge moves. The beginning of 2017, when I bought it, it was still trading like that. And if you look back at its history, it was trading within those ranges for years. It wasn't making any moves. I mean, those are big moves, really. If you're looking to trade it on a daily basis, you could double your money and sell it, double, sell it, double, sell it, But really, it was it didn't move at all. It just floated around within those ranges, and then just went completely bonkers at the end. So I think that might be, in a way, maybe how some of these alts are going to perform. Might not see big moves this year or even next year, really, unless the company themselves, like Ada, for instance, or anyone specifically, makes bold moves as far as their company is concerned. That's one of the things I think about with these layer 2 projects like Stellar and Matic and things like that. They're great, really, but they aren't doing anything right now. Their potential is huge, and their price is extremely low. So you could think about picking it up or so. Like I say, I'm not your financial advisor, but at this kind of price, or even when it reached its top, for Stellar or Matic and things like that, when they reached their top, I think they were around 4 cent. The Matic got to about 4 cent. Even if you were to buy it at that, I mean, that would be like a rounding off figure in the end, but it's going to take a long time for that to be worth it. Be a good coin to have, especially because, like ADA, you can do proof of stake, so you'll be able to stake your balance. But you can't do that yet, and you can't do hardly anything with it yet. The token itself it's not really doing anything there. They've only just released an alpha mainnet for what that's worth, and it's not worth a great deal. It's only when they release their real mainnet that they can start to really build on it. So you won't see any movements really with Matic, I don't think, until I think that's September the 30th, really. So a long time, really. So a decent opportunity to accumulate for it. But like I say, unless the company's doing something or makes a partnership with somebody big, the coin's not going to do anything. It's just a trading tool, for people. Yeah. So ADA hitting $10 though. I mean, is that something that is that like something that you think is possible? Because me personally, like to think that it would hit $10, that is I don't know. I mean that's what 100x that you're looking to achieve with that now. I mean, there's going to be a lot of money getting thrown into crypto this time round in comparison to the way it was before. I mean, everyone and their mum is getting involved in crypto at the moment. Hence this huge boost in Bitcoin so early. When I saw Bitcoin recovering, around April, I was thinking, maybe we'd see 6,000 around where we are now, around July. I didn't expect it to be anywhere near how it is now. Completely underestimated the price action. But then you take into consideration that money is leaving altcoins in general, and it's all going into Bitcoin. Bitcoin is the major player. It's the one that everybody knows about. and it's the one that people are going to be throwing their money into. These other coins are essentially companies. It's like trading stocks and shares. That's basically what it is. It's stocks and shares in the form of cryptocurrency. So Cardano would really need to do some really, really bold moves for that to happen. Yeah, no, you're right, definitely. I mean, you think of something like Litecoin. I mean, what it is, it's just number crunching, isn't it? Its value is it's a representation of the amount of work that goes into mining it. That's its value. It's just like a carbon copy of Bitcoin. Exactly, really. It's exactly the same thing. So that's why the halving event should be, realistically, it should be making more of a difference in its price now. And it'd be interesting to see where Litecoin's going to be in a couple of months once the halving event's taken place. Because if it doesn't if it doesn't double in its value, then it would suggest that perhaps maybe Litecoin's bubble has burst, and it would be an indicator really of what alts are, what gives alts their value. It's kind of a bit of a make or break situation really for Litecoin, really, and see how that plays out and see what that does for Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is being used differently, isn't it? Bitcoin's like a store of value now. People are putting their money in. It's a store of value. Obviously, it's a reward for the mining, but to compare those types of coins to something like Cardano, which does have a use case, and that they do strive to actually have their token used in a huge way, isn't it? They're looking to use it throughout the emerging world. I mean, if they could achieve that, I mean, it'd be one of the most used cryptocurrencies in the world. But there are other cryptocurrencies in the world that are being used, like kin, for instance. I mean, kin, as ridiculous as its price is right now, it's being used. It's being used by hundreds of thousands, I think maybe millions actually, of people using it daily, and it's not doing it any favors. So you have to really try and work out what it is that mass adoption actually means to a coin. Now, kin and ADA are completely different. And kin has got a huge circulating supply, so that's not going to help it. And that's one of my fears of BitTorrent token here, is that this has a huge circulating supply. And actually, one of my theories of BitTorrent token is that it has a huge circulating supply. On top of that, it also is about to release this BitTorrent speed, excuse me, which is going to start giving people, hundreds of thousands, millions of people, the BitTorrent token for doing what they're already doing, which is seeding torrents. So that would just devalue it, surely, because at the moment it's a traded cryptocurrency, but soon it'll be a reward for an ecosystem that already exists, and it is absolutely enormous. And by giving that away to people who I can imagine are going to do nothing but sell it, it's just going to create more more red candles than green. There needs to be some form of incentive for people to earn them and keep them. Because if people start just earning them and dumping them, I mean, that's just going to bring the price down. Similar to the way that banks create their software. Therefore, I believe ADA will be attractive to major investors. Yeah, I mean, ADA is one of the top, and one of my sort of first videos on this channel was anticipating that ADA was going to be maybe in the top 3, because it has that potential. I do agree with you completely. but it's not for me. It's not. It's a no-go zone right now. It needs to reach a bottom, and at the moment, there's not going to be any bottoms for these alts. And, I mean, they're all been their life is being sucked out of them at the moment. There's no movement for alts at the moment. It's complete destruction across the board. ADA is doing better than most, which would suggest that it's slowing down. Yeah, I mean it's made a what 0.5% gain today, which in all fairness is an achievement when you think about what it's been having to deal with. But it's not looking healthy. I think these gains it's have are about to be wiped out anyway. Our lowest point here is 6 cents. 6 cents could easily be revisited, to be honest with you. Easily be revisited at 6 cents. It sounds bad, but we'll have a look at the way it's trending. We're on a 4-hour chart. Let's go to a daily chart for ADA. We're finding bounces here on the 200 EMA, but the fact that we've been brought right down to the 200 EMA is no good anyway. 200 EMA is, yeah, I mean, it looks like that is getting relatively heavy itself and wants to make a move down, and when that bends down, then price will move down with it. I mean, these are higher highs. These are definitely higher highs that they're making, but it's definitely also lower lows. So I would expect this area to break. This support that we're on right now, 7.5 cent, 7.6 cent, we could say, will probably break, and at that point we are going to free fall and probably find a bounce on our most recent low, or our lowest low of recent time, around 6 cent. That would be a good buy. I would probably buy some around that point. But yeah, again, with all the alts, it looks like it wants to fall. I mean, look at these. I mean, we're underneath all moving averages, apart from, was this the 7-day close? And and they're all facing downwards. The only thing that's saving us is this 200 EMA, which is it's definitely still pointing upwards. But with these kind of moves, it won't be pointing upwards for very long. If we keep testing it, it will bend, and when that bends, we will fall down with it. Nash. Now, Nash isn't anything I've ever looked at, to be honest with you. Is that on here? No. Is it a Bitcoin pair, perhaps? Is this what you're referring to? Let's have a look. I mean, this doesn't look great to me either. I mean, this doesn't look good. This looks like it wants to come down as well. This looks like it wants to make new lows. They're on the daily chart. The daily chart, we're being rejected from the moving averages here. They're all sloping down. And there's nothing to tell me that this is going to move anywhere other than down. And because we're underneath all moving averages right now, this would tell me that we're just going to move really down. And this is like the beginning of the end, actually, for this one, for this coin. I mean, and there's no such thing as the beginning of the actual end, but I mean, look, we're at our lowest point. But we're lower now than it was ever. I mean, that was one hell of a sell-off there. But I mean, this needs to make some kind of. It needs to prove to us that it wants to move anywhere other than down. and there's no chance that I would look at buying this other than to perhaps just gamble. We're making a brand new low, and until a low has been established and we see some kind of trend change, this would be a no-go zone. Oh, right, okay. I stand corrected. I was going to say, because I want to go near this coin. Anyway, let's have a look at Bitcoin and see how we're moving. Let's see how it's going. So yeah, we're still getting rejected from there. We'll go to small time frames here. So yeah, we're finding bounces on these moving averages here on the 5-minute scale, but going back down to 12,000. If 12,000 breaks, it wouldn't be such a big deal. Probably going to find a bounce around 11,800 again. Yeah, maybe even a little higher, 11,900. 11,800 would be a good bounce for it. This is a clear rejection at this level here. I didn't think, on my video I made earlier, I didn't think it was going to get much higher than 12,200. It's a decent area for it to be rejected from there. But if that does break, then we would go to 12,500. And to be honest with you, if we get to 12,500, we'll be getting higher than that. We'll be going back towards 13,000 again. But the chance of us falling back down to 11,800 is it's quite high. It's not unlikely, to be honest with you. It's not unlikely at all. But we've got so many support ranges all the way down here. I mean, look. I mean, we are only on the hourly chart. Let's go to a daily chart. But we've got supports all the way down. Moving averages are all converging around this area here, around 11,200. So that is an extremely strong area there. Very, very strong. For that to break, that would create a significant downtrend from there. The bottom of the Bollinger Band down here is 9,400. That's not likely. More than likely going to hit. It'll make incremental steps down if it were to break here. I think the moves to the up are more likely than the move to the down. When I say move to the down, I mean any further down than 11,200. It's an interesting one, really. The volume's pretty high, but it's not high enough for it to make big moves on top of what it's already done today. But over the next week, I would imagine that there will be bigger moves. Probably breaking this area and trying to test our way back up to 13,000 again. And again, if we break 13,000, there's nothing to stop us from making higher highs than we've already made. But then I would imagine also at the same time we would find more corrections, because these moves are they're happening very fast in its. I mean, looking like this, we've just started this bull trend, and we shouldn't be this high this early. So we're getting to a point now where corrections are beginning to play out for longer periods of time. The next time we make this level, probably we'll get higher than this. Wouldn't surprise me if we get to around 16,000, maybe even pushing towards 17,000 before we find another pullback. And that pullback would probably be bigger than this one and take place over a longer period of time, probably twice as long as this one did. We might be consolidating for around 2 or 3 weeks, with maybe at least 35% correction, maybe even 50% correction. But at the moment, we're reaccumulating. We're going to make bigger moves again. We're going to push up towards 17,000, I think, before we see another move like that, bringing us back down. And what, a 40% correction from 17,000, it's going to bring us back down to roughly about where we are now, just around the mid 10,000s. 79th on the coin market cap. I mean, the thing is, some of these coins, when you look at some of these really obscure coins, I always look at them and see how well they do. And I'll tell you one as an example is that I mine a coin on my computer and actually on my Raspberry Pi and things, just for fun, just for a laugh, just because if I turn the computer on, I'll press mine on my little thing. I mine Magicoin, right? And I've been mining Magicoin, on a Raspberry Pi for a couple of years, so I've got a few hundred of them. And they're pretty much worthless now. But actually, at their height, they were worth around $3.80, which is ridiculous because it is a silly coin, really. It's just a coin that mines through CPU mining. Anyway, I kind of forget all about it. Really, it's just something that my Raspberry Pi does in the background, and I just forget about it. Every now and then, I have a look because it automatically goes to our wallet, and that coin also does proof of stake. Anyway, I forget all about it, and I look back at it every now and then. And I was looking at the price of it just recently, and it has lost all its value. Like I said, it was worth $3.80 at one point. It's roughly around 3 cents at the moment, so it's completely destroyed itself. But that makes moves as well at the moment. That makes 50% gains to 100% gains every other day, and then goes back to around 3 cents. I think it was worth about 8 cents the other day, and it went back down. So out of interest, I thought, let's have a look at this. See what the trading volume's like. And it was like for a whole day's worth of trading, about $300 worth of it was traded. So the liquidity is absolutely tiny. So if I did want to trade my Magic Coins in, I'd have to probably wait in line for a very, very long time for anybody who's willing to buy it off me. And that's my problem with these coins. Some of these coins, you buy them and absolutely nobody wants to buy them off you when they reach a certain level. They just want to sell them. One thing I was looking at recently on Binance was Pundi, because Pundi's Satoshi value is completely demolished, and it's not able to move at all. But if it was to move, it makes a 12% move with one tick of its Satoshi value. So I thought, well, I'll tell you what, I'll wait for it to get to 7 Satoshis, and I'll buy it. I'll buy some. It got to 7 Satoshis. I put in a buy order. It was there all day. No one was selling it to me for that. Nobody wanted to sell it, and if I were to be lucky enough to buy it at that, no one's gonna buy it off me when it goes to 9 or 10 or 11 Satoshis. No one's gonna buy that from me. The liquidity is absolutely tiny. Yeah, I like the Pundi project, but it's not doing it any favors, is it? I mean, it's not. I mean, it's not moving. It's not moving at all. That is on. I'd probably safely say that it's reached a bottom at around 7 Satoshis. That's why I was, looking to buy it. But there's nobody selling it, and who's to say that someone's going to buy it off me when the Satoshi level increases, if it ever does? I mean, look at where it was before. Let's have a look at it now. I look at it all the time. It's on my favorites list, actually. Oh, what is the? I can't ever remember the. It'll be one of the highest ones up here, I think, for gainers, won't it? That's it there. MPNX SC. That's it. That's Pundi. So what's it looking at now? Oh my god! It's gone down to 6. See, I mean, it's just tragic. It's just tragic. But look at where it was before. Can you imagine? Can you imagine buying it at 6 and it ever getting back up to that level again? Could you imagine that? This chat looks like this reminds me of Kin. It's nothing but bearish. Matic on Coinbase. To be honest with you, I think probably yeah, but not for a very very long time. Coinbase are very picky about what they put on there, and there's absolutely no reason for them to put Matic on there at the moment, is there? I mean, Matic is it's just at the moment it's a nothing coin. Its token it's not being utilized. It's a baby company at the moment. It's not doing anything. If it's once it, I mean, you can't put something on Coinbase until it's operational properly, and its alpha mainnet has only just come out, and it's only an alpha mainnet, And Matic will need to prove itself as a company before they get the luxury of going on Coinbase. The bloke who works on the Matic wallet used to work with. He might still have some affiliation, but he used to work with Coinbase, and I know they had seed funding from Coinbase, so they're obviously well acquainted with Coinbase. But if Coinbase just put Matic on there now, or even in the next few months, it will probably raise a few eyebrows, because if they're prepared to put a coin like Matic on there, before other coins which are doing a lot better and probably deserve to be on Coinbase more than Matic, it would suggest that they've got a lot of bias involved in their choice there, and they seem to be extremely selective, don't they, Coinbase, about who they put on and when they put them on. And Chainlink's been accepted now, but Chainlink has been a very prosperous coin for quite a while, and obviously making that deal with Google Cloud. I mean, that was the icing on the top, and Coinbase was willing to accept them at that point. Matic, a long time from now, I think will go on there. I don't know what your thoughts are on it, but that's mine. I wouldn't expect to see Matic on there for at least a year minimum, probably longer than that. When the alpha, when actual mainnet is online for Matic, and Matic is successfully working alongside hundreds of DApps, and then perhaps maybe they'll consider putting it on. One thing I'm thinking about for Matic is that I don't know if you follow what's going on with Libra, or have read any details about Libra, but Libra, their white paper suggests that they're capable of only doing 10,000 transactions per second, which isn't really much at all, And at the moment, like, Matic can only really work with the Ethereum blockchain. But they do say that they want to work with other blockchains too, but they are not able to do it right now. But that's something that they want to do. So imagine if that was that is probably a deal that will take place at some point for somebody, maybe not Matic, but a layer 2 solution will have to, unless Libra can create their own layer 2, which I don't see why they couldn't. They are backed by some pretty financially heavy companies. It's not like they've not got the resources to sort these things out, but if they chose to go down another route and make a partnership with an already existing company, like another layer 2 solution like Matic or Stellar or Nano, or there's a handful of them. But I think Matic is the fastest. It claims to be the fastest. It needs to prove itself to be the fastest. That's the problem. Then that would be the sort of thing that gives Matic its use case, and that would be the sort of thing that will allow it into the inner ring of the Coinbase circle. Coinbase would almost certainly accept it with something like that taking place. Yeah, Coinbase is they did seed funding, didn't they, for Matic, and I'm pretty sure they've made a lot of money out of Matic already. They've got a brand though, haven't they, Coinbase? And that's my thinking behind it. It's not that they don't want Matic to be on there, but they do have a brand that they seem to be extremely selective about who they have on there. And that's why I don't think they're likely to have Matic on there quite yet. They've got fingers in a lot of pies, Coinbase. It doesn't necessarily mean that they would want it on their platform. I'm sure they've got it. I'm sure they've got it in the pipeline. They want Matic to be on there eventually, but They're not just going to pop it on there willy-nilly. Matic could still fail. It needs to prove itself to be a successful venture, I think, before they put it on there. Because otherwise, what are they going to do? They can't delist it, can they? It would be the first time. Actually, it wouldn't be the first time, but it'd be pretty embarrassing to delist a Matic from Coinbase, considering that they did seed fund it and they've got affiliation with Matic. So I think what they're going to have to do is they're going to wait to see how Matic plays out, make sure that it is a successful company, and it does work, and it has got a good use case. Once it's got a good use case, then yeah, they'll probably put it on. But I wouldn't get our hopes up yet. One thing I've been thinking about, though, is that with Coinbase specifically, is that it's happened a couple of times that Coinbase has actually gone down. Right? It's been. I can only imagine that it was because there was so many people trying to sell at the same time that it just completely caved in and it went offline. Not that long ago, a couple of weeks ago, it went offline, didn't it, for about 10-15 minutes, and it did it before as well, when Bitcoin was at an all-time high and people were trying to cash out on it. That's bad. That's really bad. For Coinbase is pretty much one of the leaders in this, and that's extremely bad. Now, if a layer 2 solution like Matic could work with Coinbase to verify payments, that would be much better for Matic than just listing it on Coinbase. We want a company like Matic. We want Matic to actually, be utilized for what it's designed for, rather than just being an available cryptocurrency for people to buy and invest. We want those tokens to be actually used properly, and that would be a great use if it could work behind the background of Coinbase. If that's plausible, if that's something that they're capable of doing, which I think they probably could. Look at the state of Matic now on the daily. I mean, it's just making. Well, it looks like it wants to make a new low on the Satoshi, and dare we even look at the tether pairing? Let's do it. Tether looks terrible. I mean, it looks really bad. This is the daily chart. This is almost a new low. It probably will be a new low very soon. We could call it a double bottom already, really. So yeah, I mean, it's got to work. It's got to work. It's got to be used properly. It can't just be a trading tool. It can't just be a token for you and me to buy and hold. It has to be used. They need to have staking, and once people are staking, then yeah, there'll be less red candles, more green candles, because there'll be more people buying it, holding it, and less people buying it and selling it. I mean, look at these moves. Okay, this looked quite positive actually. We had a nice bounce here. Everything was looking positive, and then it was just sold off straight away. Just sold off and continued to be sold off. Every time there was a bounce, and people just sell it off. And how can you blame them, really? What's the incentive to hold this coin right now? The incentive will be for staking. You get proof of stake set up for something like this, then great, yeah, people will buy it, and they'll buy it as many as they can afford. Because at that point, then these green candles will have less sell-offs. They'll always have sell-offs, but they won't go back down and below where they started. Yeah, Harmony's in the toilet, definitely, yeah. But Harmony, Seller, Matic, Vet, they all kind of move alongside each other, They're affiliated just through the fact that they were launched on Binance, really. I mean, it's not their fault. I mean, the companies are all good companies. They've all got great projects. All of them, actually. They've all got great projects. It's just when this happened, this parabolic move that happened with Matic, everyone was just jumping on the bandwagon, and now they've got, I wouldn't say they've got a bad reputation, but then people don't like Binance. There's a huge sort of movement against Binance, and people need to get a grip of themselves, really. Because what's wrong with Binance? There's nothing wrong with it. But people think, oh my God, this move here was caused by people. People buying green candles, people chasing it, and a lot of people getting burned. And then no one's making anybody buy things. You make that decision yourself. If you want to buy a coin as it's going up, that's your decision. Binance isn't making you do that. You do that. You make that decision. You click that button. You make that purchase. And if you buy a green candle as it's going up on a parabolic top like this, what do you expect is going to happen? It's going to come down again. It's going to come down hard. It's like Bitcoin in 2017, 18. If you buy chasing that green candle, not knowing where the top is, because no one knows where the top is when there's a parabolic top like this. Nobody knows where it's going to end, but it will end. Nothing can keep going up. Then don't be disappointed, when it falls. And when it falls, it'll fall hard. I mean, it's not as bad as what happened with Bitcoin. You could look at this like a little condensed Bitcoin, really. And this is it, when it was around 1,000. This is it when it was around 20,000. This is around 10. This is around 6. Then, we're likely to go as low as, lower than 1 cent, really, before we pick it up. It's like, you could look at it like that. It is a bit of a condensed Bitcoin chart. It does mimic it in some way. You could probably call the 2 cent mark, you'd probably call that a $6,000 Bitcoin mark. So this would probably maybe look to find a bottom relatively soon. I'd be surprised if it falls lower than 1 cent. But yeah, it's probably got a bit further to go before it picks itself back up again. And this top will be revisited. Yeah, definitely be revisited. Easily be revisited by the end of the year. I imagine after the actual mainnet comes online, the end of September, by the end of the year, this will have easily been topped, and we'll be making bigger moves than that. Probably looking to maybe double its all-time high by the end of the year, but I wouldn't expect any more than that, unless, of course, some interesting developments come out. Like if it were to make a deal with Libra, that would be unbelievable. And then you would see this would just be like a little drop in the ocean. You wouldn't even recognize this if you saw it on a chart. It'd be so small. It'd be like what happened with Chainlink when they made that announcement with Google. But you can't expect Matic to break out of this trend with just trading volumes. It's not going to do it now. It needs to actually start performing. Anyway, let's go back to Bitcoin and see what Bitcoin's up to. So yeah, Bitcoin's still pushing. It's like it wants to test this level again here. Probably test the 12,000. I would expect it to fall a little bit now before it makes another attempt at 12,500. It's kind of dancing around here. It's very difficult to say. Yeah, well, thanks for tuning in, mate. Yeah, I think I've probably got to go as well. We've all got work in the morning. But yeah, thanks for tuning in. I'll see you again soon. I'm gonna try and make videos on Matic and things like that daily. So yeah, feel free to subscribe. No pressure, obviously. I'm not really into all that asking people to subscribe. I think it's pretty desperate. If you want to subscribe, you do it yourself, wouldn't you? Yeah. Anyway, I don't think we're going to see much more with Bitcoin for the rest of the night. But what I would say to those who are still tuned into the channel, I'll probably say that our trading range at this point is going to be between 11,800 around about this level here, and perhaps making a larger move up to 12,500. That will be our new trading range as we try to go sideways from this point forward. And when I say sideways with Bitcoin, sideways it always would suggest a $1,500 range. So that's our target there, 12,500. Not likely to get there tonight, but by the end of the week, I would expect this to have been tested, rejected, and probably tested again, and maybe broken. But yeah, I think this will be our move for the night. I can't really see much more going on. Anyway, thanks for tuning in, guys, and hope to see you again soon.